big like shift in your life? And what were the first early on challenges you had while being in the ashram?
Yeah, the first thing about living in the ashram is that you have no private space. I was always used to having my own room, my own bathroom, my own, all my own stuff, my own desk. And then you live in the ashram and everything's shared. There's no beds, you sleep on the floor, you get one locker, and even if you don't set your alarm in the morning, another 30 people do. So you definitely have to wake up. So like living together with so many people was a little tough. Like, yeah, sometimes you just need your own space, isn't it? You like having your own room, isn't it? So it's a little a little difficult. That was a little tough. And then, obviously things like waking up early in the morning. Every day you have to wake up 4 o'clock. That wasn't easy. And then we'd go out and do things which weren't always easy. We'd go out and distribute books. Like I was a very shy person, and then going out on the street and trying to stop people and say, like, convince them to take a book on Krishna consciousness. I was like, I don't know if this is what I'm meant to be doing, but I did it. And it was very nice. And Harinam, I never wanted to go on Harinam. I was from Wembley and I convinced myself I would never go on Harinam in Wembley. Because like all your friends would end up seeing you, like your old family and all of that. So I avoided going for many, many years. And then one year there was a Diwali parade. You know, like you have Diwali parade here in Belgrave Road. They used to have a Diwali parade in Ealing Road. So they told me that everyone has to go. This is the biggest Harinam of the year. Everyone has to go. So I thought, anyway, there's going to be hundreds of devotees there. So I'll just go secretly, like right in the middle, so no one sees me. And I decided to purposely come in a separate vehicle later on, so everyone would already be there. So I came in the vehicle later on, and when I arrived there was no devotees there because the coach had broken down. So I ended up on Ealing Road, like the only person, and then I had to like go on this Harinam, and I was like leading the Harinam. And I was like, I didn't even want to be here. And now I'm leading the Harinam in Wembley, in my hometown. And it was nice, but Krishna helped me. And so it was difficult. It wasn't easy. And sometimes you like Krishna consciousness, but do you really want to come out to the world and tell the whole world you're a Hare Krishna? Like, how will people react to that? So I had to overcome that and become more confident about being a Hare Krishna.
So we have a lot of young people here, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're blooming into their Krishna conscious lifestyle. So what, like, 2 pieces of advice, 3 pieces, let's give it a nice number. 3 pieces of advice that you give to them, just to become more confident in being Hare Krishna or being a Krishna conscious person?
Well, I think the first thing is what you guys are doing here, like coming together and inspiring each other. Because when you come together and you have good friendships amongst yourself, then when you go out there in the world, you also get confidence from the fact that all of you are together and you're in this together, and this is you're doing something amazing together. So I think one of the most amazing, important things in Krishna consciousness is just getting together and just being together and having good relationships, good connections. That's really important. I think another really, really important thing is wisdom and philosophy. Like when you understand why you're doing this, when you understand the amazing teachings behind this and how it can answer any question, you can defeat anyone's arguments out there through this philosophy. I think that also gives you a lot of confidence as well. And I think the other thing that gives you a lot of confidence is when all of you come together and do something amazing in the world, like take on a project or do an event together, or try and do something, to really bring Krishna consciousness or spirituality into the world. and it becomes such an adventure that you're like, yeah, without this life is boring, you know. So I think for me those three things really helped, like friendships, the wisdom, the philosophy, and just the adventure of going out there and, like, you know, organize a festival or do something, you know, do something amazing out there to teach people about Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, who would you say is your biggest inspiration, just in general?
Wow, many inspirations. Of course, for all of us, Srila Prabhupada is perhaps the biggest inspiration, because when you see Srila Prabhupada, who just came to America, he had nothing at 69 years old to just like arrive with 40 rupees. He said, when I came off the ship, I didn't know whether to turn left or right. To live with the hippies, you know, to in the 60s when everyone was into sex, drugs and rock and roll, to in that atmosphere just teach Krishna consciousness, and the sacrifices he made and the adventures he took and the risks that he underwent. I think Srila Prabhupada is an incredible role model, a hero. And when you look at his life, you think like, yeah, maybe we should also do something to say thank you for everything he's done for us. And so yeah, that's what I try to do with my life, to try and say thank you to Srila Prabhupada by trying to be a little bit dedicated to Krishna consciousness.
So that's amazing. But we're here at Pandavasana program, so what would you say, out of your memories, what was one of your favorite Pandavasana experiences?
Pandavasana, we used to do so many amazing things. We used to do adventurous things, we used to do funny things, we used to do illegal things, we used to do dangerous things. One of my memories is, I don't know, has Sandipan Krishna been up here to Leicester? Okay, so Sandipan Krishna was a dangerous person, let's put it that way. He used to drive this Fiesta, and it was like, he never drove like under the speed limit, it was just always over the speed limit. And he used to do all these crazy things. But every year we used to build a Ravan. I don't know, I guess you do in Leicester, you don't do that, but we used to build this Ravan, huge, like maybe as tall as this. Yeah, as high as probably this room. And the Ravan would have 10 heads. And when we would burn the Ravan, then the whole Ravan would burn, and then when it would get to the 10 heads would be filled with fireworks, explosives, dynamite. So they would like blow up. But we would have to obviously make those heads, and one year we were making them in the Goshala. Like, if you think about it, not the best place to to be doing stuff with fireworks, you know, when there's like hay and wood and other things there. But anyway, what the hell, we did it anyway. And I remember one year we were in the Goshala and we were making these heads, and we got to the 10th head and we were just filling it with dynamite and fireworks, and lo and behold, something sparked. And before we knew it, there was a fireworks display in the whole Goshala. It was like, oh my God, it was like, and yeah, that was, but we came out alive, and we lived to tell the tale. So that was interesting. So yeah, Pandavasena was full of adventures, it was full of, I think in Pandavasena, I ended up doing things that I think otherwise you would never do in life, you know. Otherwise, I think at that age, life is pretty boring. You just end up watching TV, and you just end up like, yeah, doing all the, you know, kind of all the things that everyone else does that is not that exciting. But I think when you join a youth group like Pandavasena, you end up doing all this amazing stuff, like out of the ordinary. That used to be you guys' motto, right? Maybe it still is, right? A life less ordinary.
Life less ordinary.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about on this path of your spiritual life. You're a sannyasi. But what inspired you to really take that next step and take sannyas?
I think I was forced.
So for those of you who don't know, sannyas is, so we have stages of initiation. So you find this, oh Maharaj,
No, you answer it. I want to see if you know. Charles did his research on sannyas. One day he'll take sannyas, maybe.
Maharaj, please, I love it.
Okay. Sannyas is when you take sannyas, you carry one of these sticks. These sticks actually have 4 bamboo rods inside it. And the 4 rods represent the mind, the body, the words, and the soul. And they're tied together. And when you take sannyas, you carry one of these because what a sannyasi vows to do for the rest of their life is to try to dedicate their mind, body, and words and soul to basically teaching the world about Krishna consciousness, about spiritual life, and to try to share this knowledge in every town and village in the world. So when you take sannyas, you take a lifelong vow to continuously travel. Generally, sannyasis don't stay in one place too long. Therefore, we're only in Leicester for 2-3 days, and then we move. This morning we came from Belgium. Here we are in Leicester, and then we'll go to London, and then we'll be traveling again. So we continuously travel, and yeah, just try to dedicate our whole life to sharing spiritual wisdom. So that's what sannyas is. Yeah.
So leading on from that, so you say you were forced to take sannyas?
Kind of.
Was there anything that drove you to really take that?
No, I wasn't exactly forced. I was just joking. Although there was some good encouragement there. The reason I took sannyas and the reason I took this path in my life is because when you go around the world, you see that people are suffering, isn't it? Don't you see that when you go onto the streets or when you go out or when you speak to family, friends, you see that people are going through so many problems, so many difficulties. And then in your heart and mind you think, it would be nice to help people. It would be nice to make the world a better place. It would be nice to try and share something that's helped me in my life and can help many other people in their life. And so the reason I guess I took sannyas is I felt like it would be the best life for me in order to try to help people and serve people. So it said that the sannyasi gives up the world of family life in order to embrace the whole world as their family. So I'm trying to do that. We travel from place to place and we meet different people. And we just try to share with them that, you know what, there's an amazing way to live. There's a higher type of happiness than maybe you've experienced before. And maybe there's a whole other world out there that you've never heard of. And why not explore?
That's really nice. And I really think that we've all seen things that we've seen with your Guru Maharaj as well in Vrindavan. Do you have a favorite memory of your Guru Maharaj?
Do I have a favorite memory of my spiritual master? Well, once I was driving my spiritual master, and in the temple we have the worst vehicles because no one actually owns the vehicles, so no one actually takes care of them. So all the vehicles are really run down. So I was driving him in this rundown vehicle. And at one point, we saw smoke coming out of the bonnet. So we stopped. And then as we opened the bonnet, the whole thing set on fire. So it was like, it was just me and him. Actually, it was me, him, and one other Swami. So I was like, you know, you can make a movie out of that. 2 Swamis and a burning car. So the car was, and I was just shocked. Like, I didn't know what to do, you know. So he was like, "What are you gonna, like, you have to," and then he flagged down an AA van, he got a fire extinguisher, he extinguished the whole fire, and I was just standing there like, yeah, I got a good spiritual master, you know. It's like, I think I made the right choice, you know, like, he's gonna save my life here, you know. So it was, so that was an interesting memory. That was, so we had adventures. I had adventures with my spiritual master like that. Other memories are times when he gave me amazing pieces of advice. Have you ever had it that someone just comes in your life and just tells you something that just changes the way you look at things? And so many times I've been with my spiritual master. It's said that sometimes your spiritual master, he can read your heart and he can read your mind. And so often I've been with him and he said things that are like, just like, wow, did he just read my mind? And it was like, he just said something profound which changed the whole direction of my life in a good way. And so those are also memorable moments. And also just fun times, funny times, times when we're just laughing and just the spiritual master is not just someone who is like very, very high and who you worship as a very, or honor as a very great personality, but the spiritual master is also your best friend. And so we just had a lot of good times together, laughing and joking and just sharing our hearts like that.
Well, it's like the spiritual master saves you spiritually, and how he saved you from a burning car as well.
Yeah.
Have you had any changes from becoming a brahmachari to like transitioning to a sannyasi?
Yeah, you have to carry this thing around everywhere. It's difficult because it doesn't always fit in the car because I'm so tall. Like the stick has to be as tall as you. So it's like I've got an extra long stick there, you know. Has it been a change? I guess it's not so much of a change. What I was doing before, I guess I continue doing now. But now I guess it's a little bit more like when you go to programs, there are more people, there's more publicity, there's more formality, I guess. But in another way, there's also many more opportunities to serve, many more opportunities to reach more people and help more people. So it's been a nice change. It's been a good change.
Well, actually, me and my friends at school today were talking about the danda.
Yeah.
We were saying, how do you go, because as a Maharaj, you're always traveling. How do you go from place to place?
How do you carry this thing on a plane?
Do you take it everywhere with you, or do you just leave it in England?
Yeah, you have the danda that you take initiation with is like the full bamboo sticks. But then if we carry the full thing wherever we go, like, you know, it's difficult to carry on a plane, you know. And they're like, what the hell is this thing, you know? So what we did, this danda is actually a folding danda. So it breaks into 3 pieces. My one breaks into 4 pieces because it's extra long. And so you break it into 4 pieces and then you put it in your suitcase. And then when you reach the next place, like today, just before I came in the car park, I just quickly put it together. And then you carry it around. So we cheat a little bit. We cheat.
I didn't know that existed. My friend said, oh yeah, I'm sure he has a folding one.
Yeah. It's like a snooker cue, you know, like you have a snooker cue and you like put 2, so it's like that, you kind of screw it together. I can show you how to make one.
Yeah, I said that. There's no way that's we've had some people send in a few questions just about general life and general lifestyle.
Uh-huh.
What would you say is the best way to eliminate bad habits?
What's the best way to eliminate bad habits? Okay, so one thing I would say is just try to do something for 30 days. So if you have a bad habit, then instead of thinking like, how am I going to give this up for the rest of my life, just give yourself 30 days and just try and do it for 30 days. Like later on in the year, we have the month of Kartik, and devotees sometimes make vows in Kartik. So it said that if you do something for 30 days, then it just becomes part of you. And then you don't want to actually go back and do it again. Or if it's a good thing, then you want to carry on doing it after 30 days. So that's what we tell people. If you want to change your habits, just do something for 30 days. Just get a calendar and just say, I'm just going to not do this for 30 days. And then after 30 days, it will just become part of you. So you can try that one out.
I'm going to have to try that one.
Yeah,
okay,
it's called the 30-day rule, yeah.
How do we build and recognize relationships that nurture us?
Yeah, you know, in life you will meet many, many people. You'll probably make many, many friends on your social media networks. You'll connect with loads of different individuals. But you know what actually in reality happens in life? You generally have like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 really good friends. And the best friends have 3 qualities. The best friends are, number 1, the people that know you really well, the people that care for you and like are always looking at how you can be the best you can. And the third quality of really, really good friends is that they have the spiritual inspiration to help you on your journey as well. So if you want to know who are the best people to invest your time and energy in, to try and develop really, really good relationships with, try to find people who, number 1, know you really well. Try to find people who care for you and want you to be the best person you can and who encourage you. And try to find people who have the spiritual inspiration to help you on your journey as you grow spiritually as well. Yeah.
So you were saying before, like you had a lot of questions about philosophy and about your religion. So I find this personally, what I find is similar to today. A lot of people don't really know or not like that connected. So how would you advise just to connect deeper to Hinduism or to become Krishna conscious? Just to, like starting
to understand more about the philosophy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like all of you come together here and you learn about different things. You learn about the Bhagavad Gita, you learn about different aspects of the philosophy and how it relates to life. You debate about things, you discuss things, you have a speaker who comes in and tells you about things. I was trying to read the Bhagavad Gita for 1 year, and after spending 1 hour with one devotee and asking them stuff, I realized I learned more in that 1 hour than I learned in 1 year of reading by myself. And so the best way to learn spiritual knowledge, the best way to learn like all of this philosophy is just to spend time with people who are also learning it, and also to spend time with people who have learnt it really well. And if you do that, then you'll actually begin learning this philosophy really quickly. And you'll go out there, and when you share this philosophy with others, people will be like, wow, how do you know all those things? Like, who taught you all that stuff? Like, if someone argues with you about science, you'll be able to defeat them. If someone tells you like Hinduism is mythology, you'll be able to defeat their arguments. If someone tells you, we don't need religion because the world's already a better place with technology, you'll be able to defeat them. Like you'll be able to just answer every question that anyone may ask you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, a lot of us have GCSEs coming up in like 3 months, I think, 4 months. But we have a question here that says, how does one strongly keep Krishna in the center focus during exams in school life, especially with a lot of stress, a lot of burdens from teachers, just like parents, just a lot of stress to do well, a lot of burden. So how does one keep Krishna at the focus?
Yeah, you know, like I found when I was revising and when I went to school that, because I started chanting when I was 15, so I was also doing GCSEs. And what I found is that the first thing the devotees told me is that if you study in the morning, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's the day, 24 hours is split into 3 sections of 8. So there's like midnight to 8 a.m., 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and 4 p.m. to midnight. And what the devotees told me, they said that the first 8 hours of the day are in the mode of goodness. The second 8 hours of the day are in the mode of passion. And the final 8 hours of the day are in the mode of ignorance, exactly. And so they said that what you should do is, in the mode of ignorance hours, that's when you should sleep. In the mode of goodness hours, that's when you should study. And in the mode of passion hours, that's when you should space out. No, I'm not joking. That's when you should get things done, like practically do stuff. And I was like, no, but I study at night and I sleep in the morning. Like 12 is like when I start going to sleep. And they're like, no, 12 is not when you should go to sleep. Like, you should be getting up early, because the hours that you sleep before midnight are worth extra. Like, so if you sleep 1 hour before midnight, it's like sleeping 2 hours. So I was like, wow, yeah, get more sleep in then if you can sleep before midnight. But they said, no, wake up in the morning early and study. And you know what? I started doing it. When I was 16, I started studying in the morning. And what they told me to do was chant 1 round, and then just 1 round, 7 minutes, and then study. And I just found that I got so much done in the morning, and I was just so much more effective. And just with doing less time, I achieved more. So I think if you take advantage of the early morning hours, then yeah, you can get so much done, and you can memorize everything you need to do for your exams. Try it out. Instead of going to sleep at 12, wake up at 12. Try it out. Yeah, Nimai, Mataji.
Out of interest, how did you do in your GCSEs?
So at that time we used to do 9 GCSEs. How many do you do nowadays? Is it 9 as well? You still do 9, right? But now you have numbers, right? You don't have grades.
Yes.
Yeah.
A 9 is
a 9 is like an A.
Like
A star. Oh, there's A star now.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah? Wow.
Yeah, so 8 is an A star, 7 is an A, 6 is a B, 5 is a C.
Okay,
And then
okay.
anything under like 4 is things like D, F, G, or up to U.
Okay. Anything under that is a slap from your mum and dad. And A levels? How many A levels do people do nowadays? 4? 3. Okay. And that's numbers as well?
No,
that's grades.
That's A star.
You can get A star. Yeah. So I'll tell you my grades then. In GCSEs, I got, I'm not making this up, I'm just trying to remember. I got like 2 A stars. I remember I got an A star in English and maths. I got 2 A stars. I got 3 A's, 4 B's, and a C. Is that 9? Yeah. 2 A stars, 2 A's, 3 B's, or 4 B's, and a C. Something like that. Yeah, anyway, I got all C's and above. And in A levels, I studied, what did I study at A levels? Politics, economics, and maths. That's what. Is that what you're doing?
That's literally what I'm doing. Like, exactly.
Those 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You're definitely going to become a sannyasi then. Yeah, and at A levels I got an A and 2 B's. So I got an A in politics. I was a good politician, still am. Quite good. And and then after university, I wanted to go King's College, but they rejected me. And I ended up going UCL. So I studied at UCL, and I studied computer science and management at UCL. And then at university, I got a 2-1. I missed the first by 1%. Just for the record, just add that in there.
An A star and in English and maths, that's like...
Yeah, English and maths, I got an A star, yeah.
That's like the Indian parent, like...
Yeah. The Indian dreams. The dream turned into a nightmare later on for them.
So if you get English and maths...
Yeah.
We have some philosophical questions, if you'd like to go into that.
Yeah, sure.
Does God having a form not limit him? So, hit you with a deep one straight away.
Does God having a form not limit him? Well, it's a limitation if you say God can't have a form, isn't it? If someone says God can't have form, then who's doing the limiting? You're the one saying can't. So we say God has a form. We say God is also formless. We also say God is in everyone's heart. So God is everything. He's formless, He's localized in the heart, and also He has a form. So when we say God has a form, we're not limiting Him, we're just saying God has everything. He's the complete whole. If someone says you're limiting God by giving Him a form, well, you're limiting God by saying He can't have a form because you have a form. So are you then saying you have something that God doesn't have? That would be very limiting. So therefore God has a form. And someone who says God doesn't is the one doing the limiting.
Someone also asked me a question where it's like, how can God reside in our heart? Where we go, like we do so many things, like how can God be in my heart if I'm out, I don't know, clubbing or in the toilet or like in all these places. We go everywhere, so how can God still be there if there's someone else, isn't that taking God to an impure place?
But God is the supreme pure, so when God goes to impure places, He makes things pure, not the other way around. Because God's purity is more powerful than any impurity of this world. So therefore God can go in any body. Now we're in a human body, but maybe previously we were in a horse's body or a pig's body or a worm's body. God can even go in those bodies because God's purity is greater than any impure situation. And therefore, instead of impurity contaminating God, God's presence purifies the impure.
Okay, I have a question.
You can challenge me on this if you don't agree, by the way.
I have a question. You got an A-star in politics, so what is the best form of government and how should society be organized?
Wow, what's the best form of government? Rishi Sunak. The best form of government, it depends. It depends. If you have someone who is capable intellectually and also spiritually, then the best form of government is to have a leader, to have a monarch, to have someone who in Sanskrit we call is a Raja Rishi. You know what Raja means?
Yeah.
What does Raja mean?
King.
A king. And what does a Rishi mean?
Sage.
A sage, yeah. So in ancient ages they used to have Raja Rishis, and Raja Rishis means kings who were powerful but at the same time spiritually advanced. So if you have someone who's a Raja Rishi, I don't know, do you know any Raja Rishis? There's not so many nowadays, but if you have someone like that, then the best form of government is monarchy. But when you don't have someone like that, then sometimes you have to have other political systems. So it depends on the situation.
Maybe we're developing the next generation of Raja Rishis.
Yes, you all can be the next Raja Rishis, yeah, definitely.
Another question I had here, which I thought was quite interesting. Well, it's not like deep or anything, but it's what 3 things would you take to a desert island and why?
Wow, what 3 things would I take to a desert island and why? Well, I take a devotee with me. Somebody can help me out, the cooking and all that stuff. I guess I'd take someone with me, because, like, we need to always... Do you know they say loneliness is more harmful to your health than smoking 30 cigarettes a day? Did you know that? Loneliness is more harmful than smoking 30 cigarettes a day. So we always need to have friendships, and we always need to speak to others. So that's one thing I would do. I'd take a devotee with me. I think the other thing I'd definitely take with me is the Bhagavad Gita. Because the Bhagavad Gita is just the most amazing book, because the Bhagavad Gita just answers every single question you could ever have. And the last thing I would take to a desert island, what to say? I'm a victim of Kali Yuga. I guess I would have to take my smartphone. Because nowadays on the smartphone you can do everything and anything and still connect with the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to do the same as you now. I think that's the wisest decision. Just to go back to more Krishna consciousness. Okay, Mark, if you want.
So what would you take to eat to the desert island?
What would I take to eat? As in like a one meal I can take, or like what I would take for ongoing sustenance? I think she wants to cook tomorrow for me. She's trying to figure it out. People always ask. At the last Pandavasena trip, they did this thing. That they do that thing on social media where they ask you like a question and you can only say like one word. I hope you're not going to do that today. Are you going to do that? You're not going to do that, okay. Because last time I did that, they were like, what's your favorite food? I was like, pizza. And then everywhere I traveled for the next 1 month, I was just eating pizza like everywhere, which was nice, but after 1 month, it's like... but I do like pizza. So I guess I would take a pizza. And I do like chili paneer, so I guess I would take pizza and paneer, maybe a paneer pizza. And otherwise, ongoing, when I was in India and when I went to India to stay for the first time when I was 21, you know what I was eating practically every single day for 6 months? I was just eating like chapatis and dal, like hot chapatis and dal. And it was the best. I was just like happy. So yeah, day to day chapatis and dal, and now and again a paneer pizza.
I think we have a question over there, Daniel.
Since you travel a lot,
Good color, by the way.
since you travel a lot, how often do you see your family?
How often do I see my family? Well, even though I'm traveling, I always come back to the manor. The manor's like my base, like headquarters. So I always travel, because like from London, you can go everywhere. Like you can go to America, you can go to India, you can go to Africa, you can go to Europe. So because I'm back in the manor regularly, I usually see my parents at least every month or couple of months, like that. Yeah. In the beginning, when I became a monk, it was really, really difficult for my parents. I think the most difficult thing for my mum was to see my head shaved. Like, it was difficult for her, the hair. Mums love the hair. So it was difficult for them in the beginning. See, that's why he's got such long hair. But then later on, they kind of appreciated it, and they kind of, they like Krishna consciousness now. So yeah, I see them regularly, and I think now and again they even listen to some of the things I say in a class. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to people whose parents are holding them back from coming to Krishna, from coming to the temple, from being Krishna conscious, to parents who are limiting them and not really happy with it and not really appreciating what they do?
I think the first thing is be patient, which is what I didn't do. I think be patient with your parents. They care for you and they want the best for you, and they want to make sure you study and you do all these things, because those things are important as well. And sometimes they think if you get into Krishna consciousness then you won't study, or if you get into Krishna consciousness then you'll divert your attention from other stuff in life you should be doing. So just be patient and give them time to get used to Krishna consciousness. Another thing is you can introduce them to parents of other of your friends who appreciate Krishna consciousness, and then the other parents can help them to understand. And the other thing is that you have to show that by practicing Krishna consciousness you're becoming a better son or daughter. So if you do that, and they see oh wow, by practicing Krishna consciousness you become such, you develop such good qualities, then naturally they'll be happy for you to take it up.
Going back to a more spiritual question, how can one build a personal relationship with Krishna, and how can one make it stronger? I haven't asked that, have I?
No. Well, how do you develop a relationship with anyone in this world? The first thing is you have to talk to them. But you can't just keep talking to someone, you also have to listen to them. So when there's exchange, when you talk to someone, when you listen to someone, then you get to know more about each other, then there's more relationship. And then the relationship goes even deeper when you do something for each other, or you do something together for someone else. So with Krishna it's the same. The first thing you can do is hear from Krishna, hear about Krishna, hear Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, hear Krishna's stories from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and get to know more about Krishna. And then the next thing you do is you go to Krishna and you speak to Krishna. So these are not just forms of Krishna, these are not just idols, but if you go in front of Krishna or Gauranitai, then you can open your heart, you can ask them questions, you can ask them if you have a difficulty in your life, for them to help you. And when you begin to talk to Krishna, then Krishna begins talking back to you through the books, through the devotees. So I would say the first thing is talk to Krishna and listen to what Krishna is telling you. And then serve Krishna. Do something, bring a flower, fruit or water, Krishna says, or do something practical to help Srila Prabhupada and the Krishna consciousness movement, and do service, and by that your relationship with Krishna will get deeper.
Yes, so I just
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to say, how do you?
You want to grab that mic so everyone can hear you?
Yes. Oh. Yeah, so how do you be motivated to do more jumper? Because I only do 2 rounds, so I want to be inspired to do more, because jumper is really good and helps you concentrate on Krishna.
Yeah, the first thing is if you do it in the morning, you'll be more inspired to do it. Because if you try and do it during the day, there's too many things going on. And if you try and do it in the night, you just get really tired and you end up sleeping in the middle of a round or something like that. So just try and do it in the morning. And if you do it in the morning, then actually you'll find that when you start chanting, it's actually really, really nice and you just naturally want to do more. Chanting is not something that you have to force yourself. It will come naturally that you want to do more. But it only comes naturally if you do it with attention. And the best time to be attentive is in the morning. So try and chant in the morning. Give it a go. See what happens.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I can. Can you hear me all right?
One of the youngest members of our audience.
What I want to know is, apart from India, is there a place that you like to travel to that's becoming a spiritual oasis for you?
In recent years, I've been going more to Africa, and Africa is an amazing place because Africa is, people are very, very simple, people are very, very kind, people are very, very friendly, and in Africa, everyone loves music and dance. So, you know, like when you do a kirtan in Africa, it's like you'll never experience a kirtan like that anywhere else. So nowadays I spend more time in Africa, and it's really, really nice. I travel to West Africa, I go to Nigeria, I go to Ghana, and then I go to East Africa, to Kenya, to Tanzania, to Uganda, and these places are amazing. I love Africa. Africa's a great place. Yeah. So if anyone ever wants to come to Africa, there's lots of lizards though. If you don't like lizards, then Africa is not the place to go. Yes. Anyone else have any questions or anything you want to ask? Or
You have Daniel.
If, for example, there's things stopping you from coming closer to Krishna consciousness, what can you do about that?
if something's stopping you from coming closer to Krishna consciousness, what can you do about that? It depends what it is.
For example, if you want to do it in school, and you had other people who would try and stop you from doing it.
Oh, okay. So if you're in this case, other people. What if other people are stopping you?
School life.
School life, yeah. Well, you see, Krishna consciousness is not just an external thing. Krishna consciousness is an internal thing. So even externally, like if people stop you, or externally you're in school and you can't, openly do things which are spiritual, you can still practice Krishna consciousness internally. Like you can still do it in your own time. Like you can still chant in your mind, for example, or you can, bring prasadam from home, and then you're still doing something spiritual while you're in school, even if the external situation is not the best. So over time, what you can try and do is internalize your Krishna consciousness, so that even in situations where externally it's not possible, you can still internally be like spiritually focused, like that. Like Prahlad, you've heard of Prahlad, and his father was not very favorable to Krishna consciousness. But what was Prahlad doing? He was always remembering Krishna, isn't it? So you have to learn to internalize when there are external obstacles. Yeah.
Maharaj, thank you. For the kids that are starting Krishna consciousness at a very young age, what advice would you give to each and every one of us here so that we can preserve this? Because as we all learn, there's so many temptations or influence.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give so that this can be protected?
Yeah. Again, I would say it comes back to what I said before, which is that if all of you stay together, you never judge each other, you never find faults in each other or discourage each other, but you're always together and you're always encouraging and supporting each other, then I think, life never... Have you ever seen one of those machines where it measures your like the ECG, where it measures your like heart rate and all that stuff. It's never a straight line, is it? Is it? If it's a straight line, what does it mean?
You're dead.
You're dead, right? So life's never a straight line. If it's a straight line, it means death. So life is always like this. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be times when you feel like really inspired about Krishna consciousness, and other days when you don't feel like so inspired. That's life. It's full of ups and downs. But if you have good friends, if you help each other, then when one of you are feeling a bit down, then someone's on a high and they'll pull you up. And when you're on a high and someone else is on a little bit of a difficult journey, then you'll be able to pull them up. And I think if you help each other like that, then you'll be able to go through life. And yeah, I think for me, that's the best thing about Krishna consciousness is friendships. And all of you are together, and you're all like-minded, and together you can do amazing things and help each other. So yeah, just be together. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Do you know when you took sannyas, like how difficult did you find like giving up everything?
How hard did I find giving up everything? You know what happens in Krishna consciousness is sometimes you have to give up many things, but Krishna, he gives you many, many more things. Like Srila Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada, he had children. Do you know how many children Srila Prabhupada had? I don't know, how many was it actually? Three. I thought it was three. Three, it was three, right? Yeah. So when he took sannyas, he had to give up and move away from his family. But then you know what he said many, many years later? He said, when I was in family life, I had 3 children, but now I have thousands of children. Krishna gave me so much. So like in Krishna consciousness, whether you become a Swami or you don't become a Swami, there will be things that you have to give up. Like things that are not good for your journey forward, things that are maybe not so beneficial. And then you think like, oh, but how am I going to be able to give it up? It's so difficult. But what Krishna will do is he'll give you something so much better. And when he gives you stuff which is so much better, then it's not difficult to give up stuff, right? Like if you're really hungry and you've got a sandwich, but then I say like, okay, but here's like, a paneer pizza, right? But the condition is you have to give me your sandwich. You'll be like, yeah, take the sandwich, no problem. Go something better, isn't it? Then it's not difficult to give up a sandwich. So in Krishna consciousness, we always replace it with something. So it wasn't so difficult. Nice question, thank you. Yes?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
What's a good daily affirmation or meditation to say in your life to be in the best positive mindset for devotional service?
Wow, that's a great question. What's a great daily affirmation that helps you to be in the best spiritual consciousness? You know what they say, that gratitude is the mother of all qualities. When you're grateful, all other good qualities in your life come. Because when you're grateful, you will be kind. When you're grateful, you will be tolerant. When you're grateful, you will be free of envy or jealousy or anything like that, because you've realized, I received so much in my life. And so when I wake up in the morning, nowadays, obviously, because I live at the temple, we go down for Mangalarti at 4:30. And there's always a point in Mangalarti every single day when I just pause to be grateful. And affirmation, that often goes through my mind, that one of my friends told me very early in my spiritual life. He said, If you're not grateful for what you have, you'll never be grateful for what you may receive in the future. And so I think that's a really, really important affirmation, that if you're not able to be grateful for all the amazing things that you've got in your life, your family, your opportunities, food on the table, opportunity to be at Krishna Avanti, to be connected to Krishna consciousness, when we take a moment to be grateful for that, then in the future more things will come and we'll be able to be grateful for that. But if you're not grateful for what you have now, in the future Krishna may give you so much, but you'll never feel grateful for that because you're not grateful for what you have. So I think that's a really important affirmation to have every day. Be grateful. Because they say if you're not grateful, then you're a great fool. Hare Krishna. Yes? How do you relate to people from other faiths? Well, in Krishna consciousness, we understand that there's one God. And everyone is just worshipping that same God using different names, under a different religion, with different rituals. But ultimately, they're all worshipping the same God. And when you actually look at all religions, then they're not actually that different. So my best friend was a Muslim, and when I started reading Bhagavad Gita and actually figured out what I believed in, we started having conversations, and we'd be like, wow, it says that in the Quran, it also says that in the Bhagavad Gita. And really, like, you believe that about the world, we also believe the same thing. And you'll actually begin to see that you're actually very, very similar and not that different to people of other religions. So yeah, just learn more about Krishna consciousness. And when you meet people from other religions, try to share what you know and try to learn what they know. And you'll actually see that you have so much in common.
Take one more question.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Often, when I'm in conversation with people that aren't really familiar with Krishna consciousness, they want me to describe the type of happiness that I get. And it's kind of hard to put into words or explain to someone that hasn't experienced it. So I want to know how you would explain the happiness.
Yeah, it's hard to put it into words. One time Srila Prabhupada was in New York and a hippie stood up and he said to Srila Prabhupada, what is the happiness of the spiritual world like? And so Srila Prabhupada was thinking, how am I going to explain it to this hippie? And then Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, the happiness of the spiritual world is like an ocean of LSD. You know what LSD is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. LSD was like a drug. It was like a drug that the hippies would take to experience a higher state of consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada said, whatever you get from that drug is just like a drop. And the happiness of the spiritual world is like an ocean. So what is the happiness of Krishna consciousness? You can't really explain it to people. You have to just... people will know the happiness of Krishna consciousness by when they are associating with you and when they just see that you're a different type of person. They'll be able to understand that you're doing something different, you're practicing something different just by your enthusiasm, your inspiration, your contentment with life, your good qualities. So you can't really explain the happiness of Krishna consciousness, but you can display the happiness of Krishna consciousness by showing that through this happiness you've become like this amazing saintly person. And don't underestimate it. People will say yeah, wow, what are you taking? I want some of that stuff that you're taking. And then you can tell them, I'm not taking LSD. But I'm practicing Krishna consciousness.
Does anyone have any last questions, like any burning questions?
Did you see anyone in Berlin that you recognise?
You know, when I was there and I was doing that Harinam, there's like hundreds of people like on the sign. So I'm sure there were people, but I just decided to close my eyes and meditate on the holy name. And so probably people did see me, but I definitely didn't see them. It's like that. But you know, like at a certain point, we're kind of, sometimes we're a little bit embarrassed about Krishna consciousness. You may not want to walk out with tilak on, or you may not want to walk out with a bead bag, or you think like, yeah, my old mates, I don't know if I want to tell them like I'm into this, you know. But you know, actually, people are looking for something more. People they're not actually that happy. Everyone out there like pretends that they're happy by doing all of these things, but they're not actually that happy. And when you're really honest and confident about what you do, they'll actually be really attracted, because they'll be like, I think there's more to life also, you know. So yeah, be confident, you'll find that many people really appreciate that you're a devotee of Krishna. Father Ram wants to say something.
I just want to say, you must have something special, because when we come and do the Friday session, we're normally trying to gather them from each corner and everything. So this is, I have to say, well done for everyone for just paying attention to Maharaj. I would ask actually, what is the need of the hour for the youth of today? Like, go back 20, 25 years, there was a need for us, and now maybe we're getting a little bit older. For these guys, what do we think they need to be thinking of while they've got the energy and the growing mind to channel their energy nicely?
In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says every soul is amazing. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining that every single person in this world has an amazing contribution to make. Sometimes we compare ourselves to each other and we think like, that person's really good at that person's so much more successful, I'll never be able to do that, and we compare with others. Later on in my life, I realized that everyone is amazing, but everyone's meant to do something amazing, but the amazing thing they're meant to do is different from someone else. And so what I would say to all of you is try to find that amazing thing that you're meant to do in your life. Try to think about what you want to do to make this world a better place. Try to think about what change you can make to the people around you. Because all of you, the fact that you're practicing Krishna consciousness from such a young age, it means that by the time you're a young adult, you'll be invested with so much spiritual wisdom and spiritual power that you can go out there and do something incredible. So what I would say is, don't compare yourself with others, don't compete with others, but rather just look inside of yourself and ask yourself, what am I meant to do? What am I good at? What abilities has Krishna given me? And how can I use that to serve others and serve the world? And if you do that, your life will be incredible and the world will be an amazing place. Hare Krishna. Okay, there's another question. Yes?
It's a burning question from us.
It's a burning one, okay.
Who are your favorite deities in the world apart from Radha?
Apart from Radha Gokulananda? Oh my God. Once devotees were having a debate on the most beautiful deities. So someone said like Radha Madhava. Someone said Radha Gokulananda, Radha Landinishvara. And then one person stood up and he goes, "You're all wrong." And he was so confident. And so then we said, okay, so Smart guy. Which are the most beautiful deities in ISKCON? And you know what he said? He said the most beautiful deities in ISKCON are the ones that you serve with your heart. Because we can't actually see Krishna's beauty. But when we serve, then Krishna reveals his beauty to us. So I tried to do some service for Radha Gokulananda, and by their mercy, they revealed some of their beauty to me. But there are many beautiful deities in ISKCON. But I guess the other deities that are very, very close to my heart are Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan. Because yes, Vrindavan is our home, and Srila Prabhupada installed Krishna and Balaram right there in the center of the altar in Vrindavan. And so when I'm in front of Krishna and Balaram, then I feel like now I'm home. So Krishna Balaram. But still, Radha Gokulananda. And Radha Madhava.